Avoidants have developed sophisticated verbal strategies that allow them to maintain connection and receive emotional benefits while avoiding the vulnerability and commitment that their words seem to promise. They become fluent in the language of potential speaking in terms of maybe someday, when I'm ready, and if things work out. That keeps their partners hopeful while allowing them unlimited flexibility to withdraw without technically breaking promises. This verbal manipulation isn't usually conscious or malicious. It's an unconscious defense mechanism that allows them to experience the benefits of connection while maintaining their emotional escape routes. They learn to say things that sound like commitment without actually committing, express feelings that seem deep without requiring reciprocal vulnerability, and make promises that feel substantial while containing enough ambiguity to be easily abandoned. The avoidant becomes skilled at using emotional language that mimics intimacy without requiring authentic emotional risk. They say things like, "You mean everything to me," while treating you like you're optional, express love while withholding the actions that demonstrate love, and speak about future possibilities while making no concrete plans to create that future together. They also master the art of saying exactly what you need to hear in moments when their behavior has created doubt or insecurity. When you question their commitment, they provide just enough verbal reassurance to calm your fears without changing their actual behavior. When you express hurt about their emotional unavailability, they acknowledge your feelings with words while continuing the same patterns that caused the hurt. This verbal manipulation is particularly effective because it exploits the natural human tendency to believe what we want to hear, especially from people we love. Your attachment to them makes you vulnerable to accepting their words as truth, even when their actions consistently contradict those words. You want to believe their verbal expressions of care, so you minimize the importance of their behavioral expressions of indifference. The avoidance words often serve as emotional band-aids that temporarily heal wounds their actions create, allowing the cycle of hurt and hope to continue indefinitely. They learn that the right words at the right time can repair damage and buy them more time to continue operating within their comfort zone of emotional distance. Understanding this pattern is crucial because it reveals why focusing on their words rather than their actions keeps you trapped in cycles of hope and disappointment. Their words tell you what they think you want to hear. Their actions tell you what they're actually willing to give. The disconnect between avoidant words and behavior patterns. The most revealing aspect of avoidant psychology is the consistent disconnect between what they say and what they do, particularly regarding commitment, emotional availability, and their feelings about the relationship. This disconnect isn't accidental. It's a systematic pattern that allows them to maintain the benefits of connection while avoiding the responsibilities that their words seem to promise. An avoidant might tell you they love you while consistently treating you as low priority in their life. They express deep feelings while being emotionally unavailable when you need support. They speak about wanting to build a future together while making no concrete plans or investments in that future. They claim you're important to them while consistently choosing other activities, people, or commitments over spending time with you. This behavioral contradiction extends to their communication patterns as well. They may say they want to work on the relationship while avoiding difficult conversations, claim they want more intimacy while maintaining emotional walls, or express commitment while keeping one foot out the door through their actions and choices. The avoidant often justifies this disconnect by claiming that actions don't matter as much as intentions, that their words represent their true feelings even when their behavior suggests otherwise. They may become defensive when you point out the inconsistency, accusing you of being demanding or not appreciating their verbal expressions of care. This pattern is particularly damaging because it creates constant cognitive dissonance in their partners. You're receiving mixed messages that make it impossible to know where you actually stand or what you can reasonably expect from the relationship. The words create hope and attachment, while the actions create insecurity and doubt. The disconnect also reveals the avoidant's internal conflict between their genuine feelings and their defensive strategies. They may truly mean their words in the moment they say them, but their unconscious mind overrides these intentions with protective behaviors that maintain emotional distance and control. Understanding this disconnect helps you realize that their words alone cannot be trusted as indicators of their genuine availability or commitment. Only sustained behavioral changes over time can demonstrate whether their verbal expressions of care translate into actual relationship investment. How to read their true intentions through behavioral evidence. Learning to interpret avoidant behavior accurately requires developing literacy in their nonverbal language of care and commitment. Since their words often contradict their actions, their behavior becomes the most reliable indicator of their genuine feelings, intentions, and capacity for relationship investment. Consistent behavior over time is the gold standard for evaluating avoidant intentions. Anyone can be emotionally available and attentive for a few days or weeks when they're motivated to repair damage or prevent you from leaving. The real test is whether they can maintain that availability through challenges, stress, and the natural ups and downs of relationship building. Look for evidence of priority in their actual choices rather than their stated priorities. Do they consistently make time for you, or do they frequently cancel or reschedule your plans for other commitments? Do they include you in their decision-making process, or do they make unilateral choices that affect you both? Do they invest time and energy in the relationship, or do they expect you to do most of the emotional and logistical work? Pay attention to their behavior during conflicts and challenges rather than their words during calm periods. How do they handle disagreements? Do they stay present and work toward resolution? Or do they withdraw and wait for you to manage the emotional labor of repair? When you express needs or concerns, do they respond with efforts to address them? Or do they provide verbal acknowledgement without behavioral change? Their integration of you into their life provides crucial behavioral evidence about their genuine intentions. Do they include you in their social circles, family events, and daily routines? Or do they keep you compartmentalized and separate from other aspects of their life? Are you a priority in their schedule and plans, or are you someone they see when nothing else is happening? Financial and practical investments also reveal true intentions. Are they willing to make financial commitments that include you, invest in shared experiences or possessions, or make practical arrangements that assume your continued presence in their life? These concrete investments are harder to withdraw than emotional ones and indicate genuine commitment to building something lasting. Most importantly, observe whether their behavior creates safety and security for you or generates ongoing anxiety and uncertainty. Regardless of what they say about their feelings, if their actions consistently leave you feeling insecure, unimportant, or questioning where you stand, those actions are communicating their true level of availability and investment more accurately than any words could. Why their actions reveal their attachment capacity and genuine feelings. And avoidance actions provide a direct window into their actual attachment capacity and genuine feelings because behavior is much harder to fake or manipulate than words. While they can control what they say to create specific impressions or manage your emotions, their consistent behavioral patterns reveal their authentic emotional state and relationship investment level. Actions require genuine emotional and practical investment that words don't demand. It's easy to say, "You're important to me," but much harder to consistently behave as if someone is important through prioritizing their needs, including them in decisions, and making sacrifices for their well-being. Behavioral demonstrations of care require the avoidant to actually stretch beyond their comfort zone rather than just verbally acknowledging your importance. The consistency of actions over time reveals their true capacity for relationship investment. While words can be offered impulsively or strategically in response to immediate situations, sustained behavioral change requires genuine motivation and emotional growth. An avoidant who can maintain caring, available behavior for months is demonstrating real attachment capacity that goes beyond surface-level attraction or temporary guilt. Actions also reveal the avoidant's priorities more accurately than their stated values or intentions. When forced to choose between their comfort and your needs, between their independence and the relationship's well-being, between self-protection and partnership, their choices show you what actually matters most to them in practice rather than in theory. The effort required for behavioral change provides insight into the depth of their feelings. Avoidants who are merely fond of you or attracted to you won't invest the significant energy required to override their defensive patterns. Only genuine love and attachment motivate the kind of sustained effort needed to behave differently than their conditioning suggests. Their actions during stressful periods or conflicts are particularly revealing because stress tends to activate our most authentic patterns. When an avoidant is under pressure, tired, or facing challenges, their behavior strips away any pretense and reveals their genuine attachment style and relationship capacity. How they treat you when they're not at their best shows you who they really are beneath their managed presentation. The spontaneous quality of actions also provides authenticity that planned words often lack. While an avoidant might carefully craft verbal expressions of care, they're unconscious behavioral choices. How quickly they respond to your messages, whether they remember things that matter to you, how they treat you in group settings, reveal their authentic feelings and priorities. The behavioral patterns that indicate genuine love versus surface-level attraction. Understanding the difference between an avoidant who genuinely loves you and one who is simply enjoying your company or using you for emotional regulation requires careful observation of specific behavioral patterns that indicate depth of attachment versus surface-level connection. Genuine avoidant love manifests through protective behaviors that serve no purpose for them except ensuring your well-being. They remember details about your schedule and check in during stressful periods, not because they want something from you, but because your happiness has become important to their own sense of well-being. They defend you in your absence, advocate for your interests, and show concern for your welfare in ways that require emotional investment without immediate reward. Avoidants who truly love you make sustained efforts to include you in their private world, despite their natural tendency toward compartmentalization. They introduce you to important people in their life, share aspects of their past and personality they typically keep hidden, and allow you to witness their vulnerabilities and imperfections. This integration requires them to override their protective instincts about maintaining separation between different areas of their life. The consistency of their effort during challenging periods reveals genuine attachment. An avoidant who loves you will work to maintain connection during conflicts, stay present during your emotional difficulties, and invest energy in resolving problems rather than using them as excuses to create distance. They fight for the relationship rather than fighting against it. Genuine love also shows up in their willingness to make personal sacrifices for your happiness or the relationship's well-being. They attend events that matter to you despite their social anxiety, engage in activities they don't particularly enjoy because you love them, or make compromises about their time and energy because your needs have become important to them. In contrast, surface-level attraction or emotional using manifests through behaviors that primarily serve their own needs while providing minimal investment in your well-being or the relationship's development. They're available when it's convenient, but disappear when you need support. They enjoy your company, but don't integrate you into their broader life. They take from the relationship without giving back in meaningful ways. Surface-level connection also shows up in their response to your needs and boundaries. If they consistently prioritize their own comfort over addressing your reasonable requests for emotional availability or relationship security, it indicates that their attachment to you is too shallow to motivate genuine growth or compromise, protecting yourself from emotional manipulation and false hope. Learning to judge avoidance by their actions rather than their words is ultimately about protecting yourself from emotional manipulation and false hope that can keep you trapped in relationships that don't serve your well-being or meet your legitimate needs for security, consistency, and mutual emotional investment. When you focus primarily on their words, you become vulnerable to accepting promises instead of performance, potential instead of reality, explanations instead of changes. This focus on verbal expressions of care while minimizing behavioral evidence of disregard creates cognitive dissonance that damages your ability to assess the relationship accurately and make decisions that serve your best interests. Developing the discipline to prioritize actions over words requires strengthening your observational skills and emotional boundaries. You must learn to notice patterns over time rather than getting distracted by isolated moments of verbal intimacy or promises of future change. This observational stance protects you from being manipulated by words that aren't backed up by consistent behavioral evidence. It also requires developing comfort with accepting reality rather than hoping for potential. When someone's actions consistently contradict their words, you must be willing to believe what they're showing you rather than what they're telling you. This reality-based approach to relationships protects you from wasting emotional energy on people who can't or won't meet your needs consistently. Setting boundaries based on behavior rather than words means creating consequences for actions rather than accepting verbal apologies or promises as sufficient repair for behavioral patterns that hurt you. If their actions don't change despite their words acknowledging problems, you must be willing to prioritize your well-being over their potential for growth. The goal isn't to become cynical or distrusting of all verbal expressions of care, but to develop the wisdom to evaluate words within the context of supporting actions. Healthy relationships involve alignment between words and behavior, where verbal expressions of love are consistently supported by behavioral demonstrations of care, priority, and investment.